All right. I think we're live.
Yeah, looks like it.
Well, Happy New Year.
Yeah, feels like it's been a long time since we've done one of these.
Yeah. This is the first changelog live stream of the new year.
Yeah,
So let's make sure everything's going out all right. Let me double check. Double check on YouTube, make sure we're streaming. And it looks like we are. All right, cool. All right. Well, welcome anybody joining us. We'll give a little bit of time. We're a little bit late, technical issues over here with some microphones and stuff, but I think we're good now. Everything's coming in loud and clear. And today is a special day where we need William to be very clear because Steve is dealing with, uh, just winter with a cold in the head that just will not go away. So William's going to need to be our clear voice today. So you'll see me
that's going
suck,
to be rough for me.
yeah, you'll see me sucking off cough drops and drinking. Well, so my usual Diet Coke. And look, William, my kids got me. I don't know if you can see in the background over the break. My kids got me a light up. I don't have it lit up. Coke sign in the
Yeah,
back. Diet
yeah.
Coke sign.
Well, they know you better than anyone.
But and if you listen to the Accessibility Craft podcast, you know that I'm a huge Diet Coke fan. But I just ran out. Went up to the fridge, no Diet Coke. So what's the second best choice, right? Here's your second best choice. Diet Dr. Pepper.
Let's just go for the full sugar option.
No, I can't drink sugary drinks anymore. They're just too sweet. I kind of feel like I'm killing something, and all the aspartame.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
I don't
So
do the diet stuff. I'm just
yeah,
full sugar
you run on
Coke,
full sugar. Cherry. There you go.
cherry Coke. Yeah, today
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. That's
I tried the orange Coke. That stuff's horrible. Don't buy
orange
that.
Coke.
Yeah,
Hmm. I don't think I've had orange Coke. Is it like a
don't don't
don't
have it.
don't have?
It was so bad.
Yeah. Cool. I have to see if it comes out somewhere, and try it, or don't try it. But yeah. So here we are, changelog episode number 9, first of the year 2026, and we are talking today about quiet releases and important fixes. So we kind of debated a little bit about what to talk about because we spent December kind of, what a lot of people spend December in those quiet few weeks before the holidays,
Hiding from their families.
hiding from their families.
Yep.
Well, cleaning things up, preparing for the new year, right? So if you've been listening to these change logs for any period of time over the last 9 episodes, we've been releasing a lot of features. So we spent kind of the end of December kind of doing a bug squash kind of go at it. And believe it or not, no huge features released during that time, but this kind of maintenance work and these kind of bug fixes that kind of, bugs get kind of logged and put in the backlog for whenever. And it is a feature to actually group those together and put them out because it makes fixes issues, edge case issues for certain people, and makes the plugin just that much more solid. So what I plan on doing is just kind of laundry listing some of those features, and that's going through them and talking about them and why we did that and why it's important to the plugin to spend time on those things. And so in this changelog, if you haven't joined us, we talk about the Equalize Digital Accessibility Checker WordPress plugin. It's an automated accessibility scanning plugin to help your WordPress website become and stay accessible. It's a whole platform. It's a whole suite of plugins at this point. We have the Accessibility Checker free plugin, which you can get on our website or on WordPress.org for free. It's very full featured. Our whole rule set is included in there, and then we have a pro plugin that expands those features and gives you full site scanning and unified global issues tracking pages. And then we have add-ons for that as well. We have our audit history add-on to get historical data on your coverage over time. We have a multi-site add-on to manage accessibility checker through a multi-site network, and an export plugin to help you export your issues to CSV to do with what you would want to import those into another system, a spreadsheet, or whatnot. Cool. So the current versions of the two main plugins that we're going to talk about, which is Accessibility Checker and Accessibility Pro. If you have the latest, which Accessibility Checker Pro version 1.36.0 and Accessibility Checker Pro version 1.19.0. So if you're looking for these features, make sure you're updated on the most recent version of the plugins. So, like I said, not a flashy release cycle, but important nonetheless. And focusing on, correcting these things just gives you users more trust in our product, and it makes our product more reliable. And let's jump in. So, metrics and scoring accuracy. You want to run through this first one, William?
Yeah, so let me just refresh myself about the exact specifics of this one. I feel like it was forever ago.
Yeah. Well, so let me give you a little pointer. I did link the PRs.
I just clicked that
to help us
Yeah.
refresh our minds.
So actually, I do remember this one now. So in this one, so no scanned posts is a state that the system can be in. So if you have a brand new website and just installed this plugin, none of the posts are going to be scanned. That is a legitimate state, and it is not a state that was accounted for very well in previous iterations. So now what we are doing is we are checking, for scannable post types, because not all post types are going to be scannable. You might have them disabled. You might have them. So you might have a post type enabled at one point and then disabled at another point. There could be dangling data for that, in which case some of the numbers might not be entirely accurate. And I can probably showcase this maybe in my very broken dev site if you want to.
Yeah, give me a screen. I'll pop it up.
Be this one. Yeah, so this is my messy test site. I've literally just recently completed a full site scan on this, and there is 43 URLs scanned. But if we were to count, so 2 of 4 post types. So if we were to count the posts and pages which are scanned, you would actually find out that I only have 41 in total. So 2 posts are dangling, and that is because previously I had the CPT enabled, and I broke something that allowed these 2 issues, these 2 URLs to remain in the database, which is quite common while I'm developing things. So these numbers would never properly reflect, because the other numbers are generated based on these URLs scanned. And if I update to the latest version of the plugin in my local, this number will go down to 41, because this is not a scannable post type anymore. Previously, it wasn't accounted for in this number, which was a cascade of issues or slight inaccuracies across some of these other numbers. So there's 43 URLs scanned, 21 with 100% score, but realistically, this is actually only 19 with 100% score, and which puts the average issue density 3.15, would probably be slightly higher. So,
yeah. Cool. So, I mean, it's important. So you're talking about you've jumped down to the second one with the density score,
Yeah, well, I think they're both
one and the
this is the
same.
cascade.
Yeah,
This being fixed by fixing
right.
the past the scannable post types.
Yeah. So like with jumping back to the past test percentage, like William said that like no scan is actually a state, and this could be on individual post as well, not just here globally. But if there was no scan, this was showing 100%, correct?
Correct. So this would always be 100% if there was no failed tests, which is not accurate for a site that has never had to scan.
Right. So now it'll say 0 or not applicable.
I believe it says no. It says N/A,
Yeah,
not
not
applicable.
not
Yeah.
applicable. So we did this, and it's important for if a user installs the plugin and they have yet to scan anything, they may come here and go, "Oh, I don't have any problems," right? Like they immediately just see that dashboard because it's not 100% apparent that just installing alone doesn't run something. And,
That's true.
and
Yes.
there was a time where in the plugin we actually did kick off a full site scan on initial install if you had the pro plugin. But we actually have moved away from that because I think that actually created more confusion than anything because it was something that was done without any action being taken. So this is just a small fix for us to ensure that that valid state of nothing being scanned is communicated correctly in our reports.
Yep.
So on the density side, so ignored issues and density score.
Yeah. So I will point out that so for the past test percentage, fixing this issue did fix some other things, like I was saying. So not scan only scannable post types was not always what was being reflected here. In addition, this issue density was never taken into account how many items were ignored. So if you ignore all of these errors and warnings, technically your issue density is 0 if you have none of these. So this site has 43 unique errors, 26 unique warnings, and 3 ignored items. If I ignore all of these, the density should be 0. And the
Right.
average issues per page should also be 0 because we have ignored the items, effectively saying that they are not issues and
Right.
thus should not be reflected here.
Right. Whereas before we weren't properly considering that.
Correct. So this average issue density and a number of these issues, like URLs with 100% score, they were not accounted for when the issues were ignored. Um, because ignored is maybe a misnomer, because ignored doesn't really mean you're ignoring the issue. What ignored really means is not an issue. It
Right.
it isn't unresolved. It is you have looked at it manually and you've decided it's not an issue and thus it is a resolved problem. So it should go away in all of the metrics which are accounting for it.
Yeah, and this is something that we're working on for new features coming out in this year is some cleanup around language. Like William said, an important thing there about ignored items. And when it comes to remediating accessibility issues, ignoring is not necessarily a positive action. Like we shouldn't really be ignoring things. We should. Our errors and warnings are 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 really what they are. An error is something that we can, with a great sense of accuracy, say this is an issue programmatically. Right? We can programmatically determine that this is an issue. And a warning is basically us prompting you to say, "Hey, we think this is an issue, but we need a human to validate that this is an issue." And then on top of that, that's when you would use the ignore feature to okay, the accessibility checker plugin is telling me this is a warning or this needs some human review. So I reviewed it. It actually is fine. It's an image that doesn't have alt text, but it's decorative, so it shouldn't have alt text. And then you can ignore it, and you can maybe write a little message, say, "Hey, this is a decorative image," and that essentially ignores the issue. But in essence, what it is, you're not ignoring it. You've actually remediated it. You're actually saying this is not an issue. So we are working on some language changes to make that more clear when you're doing your auditing and your remediating with Accessibility Checker.
Yeah, so we'll just show people how the ignore works. So if you're in a single issue page, and this is an issue, and I will be clear, this legitimately is an issue, but for the sake of demoing, so we have these action icons in the right hand side beside every single issue. If you open it in the details panel and click ignore, and you can leave a comment here. So you can say not an issue because, and then you can describe exactly what reason you're ignoring this issue for. Because as I said, you're not ignoring it. You've verified this is okay. I'm not going to click this button to confirm this because this legitimately is an issue on this page, but I just wanted to demo that.
Cool. So those are a couple of the improvements that we've made on those two things in regards to reports and improving the accuracy of those full site stats. What are you doing now? So William's adding an image to his editor. His favorite.
My favorite Thanksgiving gift.
So this is a GIF of a Thanksgiving turkey that we actually used in we were creating a plugin to pause animated GIFs, and this is actually an animated GIF, right? And
yes, so this is read as an animated GIF, but this is a static image. It just has metadata that implies it is animated, and I could not figure out why.
Yeah. So William hates this image because of the trouble it took but it was a good edge case for us in testing animated GIFs, and when a GIF actually sends messages to us that it is a GIF and when it's not. So you're adding
So I've added this image and I saved the page. It came up with an empty alternative tag or empty alternative text. So I've added an alternative text that just says an image. We saved the page. And now this error this warning has changed. It is now considered as a low quality alternative text.
Well, you're jumping ahead too. So we can talk about that now since you've
so I've put this up. So previously this would not have been flagged, but this is clearly a low quality alternative text, and we have a series of words or phrases that we believe is considered as a low quality alternative text, like an image, graphic, bullet, or an image of, and now this gets flagged as a proper warning to look at, because maybe your alternative text is an image. Maybe that's literally an image that has text that says an image. That would be legitimate alternative text, but in most cases, it's not going to be.
Yeah, so this was an improvement to image. Image has. Oh, sorry. What's the name of the rule?
Image all invalid.
Image all invalid.
Or low quality alternative text is the nice name.
Yeah, so we have a whole set of keywords that we check against. I'd have to bring it up to understand, remember what they all are. But
so I have the list here. The list is it's actually quite short, but if it starts with the phrase graphic of, bullet, image of, or an image, or if it ends with the word image or graphic, is the the general checks. We additionally check for exact match keywords of things like photograph, drawing, painting, artwork, logo, and maybe 20 other specific phrases. But the term "an image" previously was not caught,
Yeah.
and I have seen this in the wild many times. People put that as their alt text.
Yeah, because when you're remediating images that are missing alt text, sometimes there's a pull to like, oh, it needs alt text. I just need to put something in there and then it'll tell me it's fine. And really the quality and the context of what you put in that alt field is of vital importance, because if somebody's, using a screen reader that, that has visual impairment and they can't see the image, and they come across it and the screen reader says an image, like how's that have any value to the
Yeah,
user?
because the screen reader would read out that it is encountered an image
Right.
already.
And in
Does-
that case, it's almost like you trying to check a box that it has an alt. It's telling me it needs alt text. Well, I put an image, but you actually made it worse, because even without alt text, it's just considered a decorative image and it just moves on. So you're adding just completely false, bad context to it, whereas before it didn't even get in their way. So why did we add this keyword? So this rule's been around for many years, and this came in through a request from a user.
I think this must have came in from a request from a user, because I don't think we would have thought to action on this out of nowhere. This has to have been a user request. See if I can try and find
Yeah, I'm looking to.
the origin. I actually believe this might just be a very, very old ticket that
Ticket.
we've had in the backlog that was not accounted for a very long time, and finally we had time to tackle it. So
Yeah, I have the PR open, but I'm having a hard time finding the issue because it didn't
didn't link.
tag the issue on the PR. Or yeah, but yeah, I'm pretty sure this has been open for quite some time. So, and that kind of goes back to the whole reasoning for doing this, and I know that through this kind of bug squashing session we went through, that there was a ticket that I think has been open for like 4 years or 5 years. It was like a really low issue number. And it's kind of funny how these things can sit in a backlog for so much time, and why it kind of underscores the importance of doing these types of bug squashes from time to time, and creating that value. Now we, from a development workflow standpoint, we try to keep our backlog fairly clean. We kind of operate under the principle that if it's super important, it'll surface again or it'll come up again. But this one actually stuck around inside of GitHub for quite some time. So that's a small improvement, but I think it goes a long way to always refine these rules and make them smarter or better. And whenever we come across somebody using it in another context, we add that, like an image. I never would type that, but maybe
I've seen it
yeah,
online. People put this for whatever reason.
right.
But yeah, improving the rules that already exist was a bit of a theme in the last release we did. So the next item on our list is to do with improper uses of links. So I've created this text link here, which contains the pound sign as its href value, which is an improper link. This ideally should be a button, or it should have a real anchor point after the pound sign. So we refined this rule, and there is some cases where this href no longer matters, and that is if you alter the role of this element. So if you alter the role of this element to be a menu item, with aria expanded on it. So this could be a link that triggers a drop down.
Yeah.
It's the most common place I've seen this. So if we make it a role of menu item and give it RA expanded and a resave this, technically this improper link should go away. It did, so it's just the one original improper use of link that I have. So this is no longer improper because this is a menu item that expands an element. And on a menu item, href is ignored by the screen reader or by any assistive technologies, because when you use the role value on any element, it changes its semantic value. So to a screen reader, this is no longer an anchor tag or a link. This is a menu item, and potentially should appear inside of an unordered list or a menu or something else.
This is a very interesting one, and oddly enough, this one is also 3 years old, but it's interesting because it is an extreme edge case, and this was actually brought up to us on a WordPress.org support ticket many years ago, 3 years ago to be exact, and then Amber Hines, our CEO, had a kind of a discussion in our accessibility Facebook group about it, what people thought about the kind of edge case, and the consensus was that adding the correct attributes here, like role menu item aria has pop up equals true, actually does make this a proper use of a link as far as a screen reader goes, right? And like William was saying, we could take this a step further since we think this is an edge case. We could take this a step further and actually only validate links with these attributes inside of nav landmarks.
Well, we could. However, you said ARIA has pop-up, which might be preferable for a drop-down. This is ARIA expanded, which I thought might be a drop-down menu, but is probably quite useful for accordion trigger items.
Well, you probably want to have
ideally you would want a button, but
well, you as far as attributes, you probably would want to have role equals menu item and aria has pop up equals true, and in what
expanded.
Certain context you would have aria expanded equals false.
Yeah.
Did that pass with role with what you have there?
Yes, so this is what exactly we check. Aria expanded equals false. I do not believe we are explicitly checking aria has pop-up.
Yeah, maybe that's fine.
That is has pop-up, right? There's no space.
Yeah, correct. Equals true, yeah. It would need to be true.
Oh, looks like it doesn't like that.
Huh. You're running latest?
Yes. So the change we did made was explicitly for aria expanded, not aria has pop-up, but that might be a cycle back and add.
Yeah, totally. We can definitely confirm that we have this logic correct. But we're trying to check edge cases more here, and this is a valid use. Now, I would say it's not a recommended use, but you can do it. Cool. Anything else on that one?
Nope, I think that's everything. I've taken a note of whether we want to investigate has pop-up as well. I think we probably do. Because this was a specific edge case we were adding affordances for, we probably didn't consider the has pop-up edge case as well.
Yep.
But no harm at the same time tackling that.
Cool. All right. So we did some UX and some quality of life fixes as well. So let's run. We got a handful of these. So highlighter controls are now translatable. So earlier this year, if you saw an earlier change log, you would have heard us talking about translations. And translations was something that we started taking very seriously last year with the European Accessibility Act going into full force and seeing a lot more adoption in Europe, and basically kind of practicing what we preach, making the plugin as accessible to as many people as possible. We started taking translations very important. But from a development standpoint, that can be daunting, right? Like, sure, if you have a mechanism to translate the plugin into 30, I don't know, 2 or 3 languages like we have now, that's great. But your plugin actually has to be coded in a way to be translatable.
Yes, and a thing that we found is that almost all of our PHP translated strings were already translated, but quite a number of our JavaScript strings, and not just quite a number of our JavaScript strings, quite a number of JavaScript strings in general are not properly wrapped in translation functions. So
Yeah, tell everybody where you're at.
yeah, so I've changed the language of my test website into French, and I'm now visiting the front end of my site. I've opened up my the front end highlighter button, and now we can see that each of the buttons in the front end highlighter are now translated. Previously, the next and previous buttons were not translated. So
Yeah, I was trying to. It looks like your name is covering up that
it
the
is.
highlighter a little bit there.
Let me. Oh, I should have moved it to the other side.
Well,
I can just delete my name, right? That could work.
We have a setting in the settings where you can move where that the front end highlighter floats on the page.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I've changed this to French now, and I
Oh,
don't.
let's see if William can change the setting when it's set to French. Is that it?
It's that one. I can't read this, but I know
It
that's.
says I can read that.
Yeah. So yeah, I've moved the front end highlighter to the right hand side, and now we see that we have French on all of the buttons. I do see we have some overspill issues. This is to be tackled
Oh,
in the
that's a
not
good
too
catch.
distant future.
Yeah, because strings become much longer, right? Based on
In some
or
cases,
shorter
yeah,
or shorter.
they change in size, and we have a fixed amount of space available here.
Right.
So if I go to a page that actually has an issue on it, so yeah, all of this is now translated as far as, well, most of these strings. I see that this how to fix it string is not translated. I think that is because of where that comes from. But
yeah. So this is a technical thing, right? This is.
I think so. This is not that it hasn't been translated. This is that we're grabbing it and injecting it in English rather than the correct translation. So,
but all these controls. So the update here was on the controls down here.
yes.
And this did a customer did service this for us. So if you're a user of Accessibility Checker, contact our support if you see something that isn't translated, and we will fix it right away.
Yep. I always like to fix an issue that a user really is experiencing and not just ones that have been sitting for a long time.
Right. And users of different languages really are the best user testers than us. Like, we switch it to a language that we don't understand, and then we try to fumble around and find things. And but yeah, so we're just working to make sure, try to get everything inside the plugin as translated as humanly possible. So we did better help on links and tooltips. So this is basically just a housekeeping item of going through and making sure that our links to all of our documentation throughout the plugin, there's lots of links to documentation for every rule. We have 40 some rules, and we actually just went through and did an audit to ensure that every one of those links were properly set to the right documentation. Over the years, documentation pages can change. We run some redirects on those as well, and ensuring that everything lines up. So we have some ID matching that goes on. So, and through that audit, we found one documentation link that was linking to the wrong piece of documentation. So we fixed that. And why do I mention that, right? like I mention it just because like this bug scrub really is a good point where we can go through and fine tune and go through and make sure that everything is working the way we intended to. Because sometimes when you're in full feature release cycles, you can oversee these things. So it's just another way that we're ensuring that the plugin is always being maintained and updated and accurate. All right. Fixes that unblock savings and settings. And also, we bring this up too to show that we're human, that we have a plugin that's very testable, but no piece of software is immune to regressions, right? And coding
Correct.
a regression is typically when something is working and you change either something in regards to that or something else, and your unit test doesn't catch it, and it actually breaks a little bit of functionality, or the functionality regresses to a functional but not a perfect state to where it was. Do you want to explain this one a little bit, William?
Yeah, so the specific thing we're talking about here is the scan speed saying previously. So the first item in this list is fast, and fast is the default option for this setting because it is first in the list. So I have this set to slow, and if I reload this page, you will see that it remains on slow. If I change it to normal, scroll down and save, it reloads and it stays on normal. The bug was that we were not outputting the stored version from the database. So if I were to change this to slow, slowest, or normal, and then save it, this is the speed that the scan will run at. However, when this page was loaded, the regression meant that it would always default to fast. And that doesn't mean that it was saved as fast in the database unless you explicitly come down and save the changes. This would store in the database the correct value until you make
Right.
that change and save. So this was a regression, and there is unit tests to make sure that the stored value is correct after these have been saved. However, there is no end-to-end or integration test to make sure the UI displays the correct value. And as such, we never noticed because when I would test this, I would come in, I would change the scan feed, I would save, and then I would visit the full site scanner and I would check that it is scanning at the selected speed. I didn't always look to see whether it reloaded the page correctly.
Right.
And for a while it wasn't.
Right. And the reason why that regressed is we were actually the free accessibility checker plugin and the pro accessibility checker plugin integrate with each other quite a bit. And you can think about the free accessibility checker plugin kind of as core. It's the core plugin, and then the pro plugin extends the core plugin with advanced features. And and as accessibility checker grows and becomes more full featured and does more things, there are settings that really intertwine a lot, and where the functionality of those settings happen. So whether those settings are defined in the pro plugin or in the free core plugin, those have changed, and they continue to change so that we can create more advanced functionality.
Yes, so this scan speed setting originally was created inside of the Pro plugin. At a certain point, it it made sense to move the scan speed setting and some of the other settings over into the free plugin, and for it to not be active when the pro plugin isn't installed. And it was at that point that this regression was introduced, because the key changed
Yeah. So
to reflect the free key versus pro key.
yeah. So a little bit of insider info for developers out there. The prefix, right?
Yes, the prefix on the key changed from EDAC, and we have another one for Pro, which is EDAC P.
Yeah.
And the prefix changed because of where this was moved to, but the setting option being a Pro setting, it contains the P, which was not reflected in just this setting, I believe. All the
Yep.
other settings were fine.
Yep. Totally. So that was an interesting one and a short-lived one. I think that only.
It's also one that a user noticed and reported. So as we said earlier on, if you see anything, let us know, and we will almost certainly fix it within the next release in most cases.
Yeah. And like I said, this was a short-lived regression. I think it was only between one release. So
I think it was a release, and I think it was more like half of a release before it was reported, and then it was fixed, I think, within 3 or 4 days.
Yep. Cool. All right. So that brings us to some pro plugin stability things that we have implemented. And the first one is sorting indicators improved usability. So this one actually, we have another PR in regards to these. Yep, looks like we lost William. He'll be back in a second. Hold on.
Oh, I'm back.
You're back. There you are.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but maybe my kids are on Netflix again.
That's right. They're using up all the bandwidth.
It still says I'm sharing, though. Do you still have my screen? No.
Let me see.
I can stop and start.
No,
again.
I've got it. Oop. Let's bring William's screen back up. All right. Yeah, so we do have another PR open in regards to this that hasn't gone out. That's correct, right?
I have that PR here, I believe.
Okay. So
no, you're right. I don't have that PR here.
Yeah, I can see it's not sorting correctly. Do you want to switch to that?
I can pull that in, yeah, if I can find.
I'll switch back to our lovely faces here while William jumps into the code and pulls down a PR. So we added the ability to sort these columns, and that's just good for accessibility. It's good for people auditing to be able to filter the table columns to the way that they see fit, so that they can see what the most important rules to tackle are. And then we actually have a little bit of a improvement to that we have in a open PR that will go out in the next release here in probably next week. As we listen to William's mechanical clacky keyboard.
I've ordered quieter switches. You won't have to listen to it forever. Yeah, so I think I got that pulled down for the fix. Yeah.
Cool. Let me jump back. Let me pull your screen back up. All right.
Yeah, so the thing that we were specifically going to call out is that previously you could sort these fields, but there was never an indicator beside them to show what the sort is. So now, for example, I can click this WCAG level filler, and it shows the top arrow is highlighted to indicate that it's sorted ascendingly, and if I click it again, sorting descending. And that's true for all of these items.
Yeah, and so what we've done is we're giving you a visual indicator of the sorting order, and I believe we're doing some screen reader work too to make sure that that announces to the screen reader the correct direction as well.
Yes, there is a label here that says sort descending, sort ascending as it changes.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
previously you could sort by these, but there was not an indicator that visually showed people
yep.
the order.
Yeah, so in a earlier release, like towards the middle of last year, we updated this open issues page with some additional items, severity and WCAG level, and if you're here, William, you might want to open the screen options. Is that on this page or the next page? No, it's not on this page. It's on the next page. We added severity and WCAG level, and with that we had to update our sorting to prioritize severity and then issue count. Whereas before, I think we were prioritizing like the type and then the count.
Yeah, error
Error
first and
or
warning.
warning, yeah. So, and it did have sort functionality, but now what we've done is we're doing what everybody's doing. We're trying to improve our own accessibility, and we are never considering it done. Um,
Yeah, there
and
is always improvements that can be found and made for certain people.
right, and we didn't want to hold the feature up to get it out, but we wanted to ensure that we can visually show that sorting direction. So if William jumps through to a rule here on, he goes from the open issues landing page to an individual issue rule. Um, you can see we are surfacing a lot more information here as well with the severity and why it fails and why it matters and how to fix it. And where you previously only got a little bit of this in the front end highlighter, and then you would have to click over to our documentation.
You can also click to the documentation to get
Yeah,
full articles. So if I click this documentation, we have a very thorough, in-depth article
on how to.
about exactly what this issue is, how to fix this issue, and why you might want to, like, what the impact on accessibility is.
Yeah, totally. Um, but in the screen options, and the reason why I'm bringing up the screen options here is because nobody uses these. I don't think is this the correct location for the screen options?
I only see the number of items on this one. So,
I
what is it
thought
you're looking for?
I thought we surfaced an explanation of severity somewhere.
Oh, is it in the help tab?
Oh, it's in the help tab. Okay, yeah, yeah. See, this is why I bring it up because even I, as a 20 plus year user of WordPress, rarely click on this help tab. Um,
No, I don't think very many people click on the help tab, but it is the exact explanations for the severities and the types exist in the top level help
right,
drop down.
and there are links clicking off to
Yes,
some
also to the
some documentation
documentation.
as well. If you jump back to the landing open issues page, I think it's there too, isn't it?
Oh, maybe. Yeah,
You just have to click on help.
it
Not
is.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
under
yeah.
the
It's
help tab.
under help. So we're
Yeah,
trying
so
to
this
get
details the types here. So understand the issue type. So we have errors and we have warnings, and um, errors are something we're certain are a problem, and warnings are something we might not be certain, and we really need you to manually take a look at what we're flagging. And now such context exists here to explain that to users, which I think previously some users were confused by.
right. Right. Cool. All right. So the next one's this one's an interesting one, and I think I worked on this, and it's UTC times to give more accurate time reports on like ignoring items. Um, so we had been using server time. Is that correct, William?
Yes, almost always we just grab time from the server, whatever the server has available, which is sometimes UTC, sometimes, well, it's almost always based on where the server's located in the world,
Right.
which might not necessarily be where your website is is used.
Right. So we just wanted to bring some more accuracy to the ignore dates when those dates get logged, and that they actually follow the time zone that you have selected inside of WordPress.
Also, I've ignored it, and now I don't know what page it was on.
This is easier if you do it
Yeah.
on a single page. You'd have to jump over to the ignore log to then see it.
Yeah, well, I don't have a great many.
Do you remember which one it was?
I do not know exactly which one.
Yeah,
Which
just
one it was,
go to an
but
individual post page.
no, the issue doesn't exist anymore on this page. As soon as it rescanned,
Yeah.
I'll find an issue and show properly. So on this one. So yeah, if I were to just ignore this issue, so I've clicked the ignore action. I've typed the message in the comment box that appears, and then I've clicked the ignore issue button. And now we have some metadata. So it says the username, which is rowcheck, which is the username on this website I have, and the date, which January 15th, 2026 at 7:56 p.m., which is my time, which is what? Which is UTC.
UTC1, right?
UTC1 in
0.
summertime. So
Yeah.
this is actual UTC time for me, 7:56 p.m.
So if you go to your settings and change your time zone now, leave that post open. So he's going to settings on the dashboard. He's going to change it from UTC to
What's yours? +5?
something 5 or 6, I think. Yeah.
I'll set it to 5. And if I just reload this page,
It's ignored. Go down.
Oh.
It's ignored. It gets filtered under. Yeah, there you go.
So open ignore it, and now it says 12:56 p.m. on the 16th. So in +5 hours is tomorrow. So
Yeah, that's definitely not my UTC.
no, your UTC -5.
Hold on,
Right?
it's New York UTC. I'm not good with UTC.
So I went the wrong direction. I went
Yeah.
forward instead of backwards. So yeah, your time is -5.
Yeah. So
Yeah, as you see, the server time it's stored in UTC time, which means whatever time your site is set to, the offset is properly attributed.
right. So this is just another small fix that just is us trying to make things more accurate and make more sense to you. And where this comes in handy is if we're looking at expanding the features of accessibility checker to where it's more conducive for teams to work on, right? And as you can see, William and I, we live on opposite sides of the planet, right? And well, kind of, but I'm in America and he's in Europe, and our time zones are quite different. And if we're auditing and remediating a website and putting ignores in, it's kind of nice if the time reflects where we are. If he puts it in at 7 or 8 o'clock his time now, and that I see it as 3 o'clock my time, right?
Yes, and that is what you would expect, really. You
Yeah.
would expect to see the actual time in your local zone, or not necessarily your local zone, but whatever the website is set to, it should be normalized.
Yeah. So just another tweak to bring in some stability there. So another stability thing, William. And I don't know how much you want to talk about this, but um, we are we improved the SSS verification of our API endpoint in the Pro plugin.
Yes, and not just for this one Pro plugin, but across all of the suite of our add-ons, we were not necessarily verifying the SSL certificates, which I believe was the way the source code was delivered from EDD.
Yep.
And we never made any changes to it, but it turns out that we were not verifying the certificates that were being sent. So in a very unlikely situation where someone was clever enough to man in the middle and provide a fake SSL, it wouldn't have been caught. Whereas now it will be caught. We will not make the connection if the SSL certificate does not validate. And there is a filter if you're working in local development or working on sites that are on intranet that doesn't have an SSL certificate. You can turn that filter back off, or you can use a filter to turn the verification back off if you want. But by default, it should have been on in the first place, and now it is.
Awesome. So security improvements bring more stability as well. All right. So the last one here, license messages clearer by role capability. So that's a weird way to write it, but explain that to us in plain English.
Yeah, so I almost pulled up my license key and showed it. I can't do that. But yeah, some users. So if there is not a license key on this website, then there will be a notice. And well, let me pull this to my other screen and just remove my license key, and we'll show you the license key issue. Yeah, I've deactivated the license
All right. Let me pull your.
website.
I don't have your screen up. You want me to pull it
So
up?
I pulled it to a different page. Yeah, you can pull it up. I used a different screen for
All right. Here we
this.
go.
So you can see this error message here that says accessibility checker is installed but requires an active license key to function. Please enter your license key. And if I click on that link, it takes me to the license page. So I have manage options because I'm a full admin on this test site. But what if you didn't? If you were a content editor, you would still see a message, but you would not know. It wouldn't direct you to enter your license key. It would direct you to ask an admin to install it.
Right. So it actually will flip and say something else for non-admins, not
Or anyone that doesn't have
the capability.
manage options capability.
Yeah. So do you have a user you can switch to show that, or
I don't on this test site,
okay?
so I'm gonna just find what the message is. Or do you know what the message is? Because I think
It's something about contact your site administrator to have them update the license. So this is just another step in one, only showing messages to who they actually apply to, and two, giving context to somebody that may want to use the plugin but doesn't have the capability to add the key. And this is all kind of future looking things to bring accessibility checker into a more of a full auditing tool that a full team may be using, and to start separating out different capabilities, or building in custom user capabilities into accessibility checker. So cool. Well, that's kind of our list
yeah, we're at the end.
of bug squashes that William and I worked through over the December month. And these are ongoing things, but we kind of decided to group a bunch and do a big push there with where you don't have a lot of time to like really get into big features. And we spent a good portion of December actually planning what we're doing in 2026 for accessibility and the features and the roadmap that we will be working through. And we're excited to share some of those things with you when they become available. We have already dived in, and William's been working over the last couple of weeks on some new features and new things that we have coming your way.
Yeah, I think the first UI improvement will actually might drop before our next changelog, so they will either get to see that in the actual plugin or we will demo it.
Yeah, yeah. So that'd be exciting. So look for that here in 2 weeks. We have this live stream every what is it? We second and fourth.
It used to be every 2 weeks, but I think it is now going to be every second and fourth.
Yeah, we're off a
Thursday.
little bit for this January because actually the first Thursday in January was January 1st, which that would have been we were
That's
not in the office.
5 Thursdays this month.
So we're trying to have 2 of these a month so that we can go through and show you what's new and demo what's new inside the plugin. So thank you for joining us. If you use Accessibility Checker, we would kindly ask that you go to WordPress.org and give us a glowing 5-star review on how useful you find the plugin to be. And
if you don't think it's a 5-star review, send us an email.
Yeah, send us an email, and whatever grievance that you have, we will work to make that 4-star or 4.5-star a 5-star, and we'll be happy to help out in any way we can. You can reach out to us on X and on we have a Facebook group that you can join, and we look forward to talking to you there. And if you haven't tried out Accessibility Checker, I implore you to go to equalizedigital.com /accessibility-checker and download the plugin for free and give it a try, and let us know if you have any feedback. So thanks for joining us. We'll catch you here again in a couple weeks. Bye.
See you.